Alright, this video is about M4 feed ramps and the problem with a 55 grain full metal jacket bullet causing jams. And what happens with an M4 feed ramp is that using a 55 grain bullet, which is just a tad bit shorter than the 62 grain or 68 grain bullet, will hang up on that feed ramp, cutting the bullet slightly, and which results in a jam. It fails to go in into the chamber properly. And what I've done is taken one of these bullets that has been scarred, and I've marked about where you would see the little scars on your bullet. So once you have a bullet, you clear the jam, and there's plenty of ways to clear a jam. First of all, is you remove the magazine, put it on safety, and usually the bullet is stalled just 1/8 of an inch from all the way being seated. But you can take your buttstock about 4 inches from the ground, gently tamp it on the ground. It will knock that bolt loose till you can get the bullet out. Then you need to inspect the bullet and feel of the bullet. And you'll notice I marked where there's little scars. You'll find little scars on the side here where the feed ramps have cut the bullet and the casing. And that expands the casing just enough so it doesn't quite fit where it's supposed to. Now, for those of you who don't want to watch the whole video, I'll just give you the solutions right here. First of all, changing magazines often resolves the problem. Plastic magazines seem to work a lot better, and I have one I'm going to show you what and why of it. Longer bullets also help. The 62 grain bullet is just a fraction of an inch longer. I have a 55 grain bullet here, and you can see she just barely fits in right there. I use my 62 grain bullet, and I can't make it fit. So you can tell I'm just a fraction of a millimeter longer using a 62 grain bullet on my caliper. That won't go in. I use a 55 grain bullet, and you can clearly see it going back and forth. So the longer bullets help and will solve the problem. Usually the M4s feed perfect on all bullets except 55 grain based upon my experience. The third thing is to polish an M4 feed ramps. And the feed ramps, there's plenty of good videos out there telling you how to polish a feed ramp. What I've done is done a little drawing here of what a feed ramp looks like. When you look at the M4 feed ramp, you'll see at the bottom of it, there's black, and that's going to be phosphated aluminum. Never polish the aluminum on the feed ramp. Only polish the steel, the iron that's above it. And that should, if you want to polish it, you polish it to a mirror finish, so it lets the bullet slide more. But what happens is that bullet, the projectile, if imagine you're the bullet, and the eyes are in the end of the bullet, and you're looking at the direction that it's traveling toward the inside of the barrel. This is going to be the guide that's going to guide that bullet into the barrel, and you'll have your bullet will go in between these two, this feed ramp guide, and this little corner and this little corner will cut the bullet and causing those scars, and thereby a jam. And there's where the little scars are. Usually on the bullet you'll see side by side 2 little scars. And that's what happens. Now the solution is really quite simple. You can get your Dremel out and do the polishing and learn how to do that, but I think the solution is much easier. You simply buy a new magazine. And I'm going to show you magazines. Here's a mil-spec magazine on the right. You can see it has a green follower. And a plastic magazine on the left. And if I'm going to get my knife up here and show, you can see the tip of the bullet is just that much lower on the steel magazine than on the plastic magazine when they start to feed. This is just right when they're starting to feed, where the casing is just hitting the very front of the magazine itself. And on these plastic magazines, it tilts them up just ever so slightly, a few millimeters higher than it would if it were a steel magazine. And now notice the difference on these. You have these lips that hold your bullet in are much shorter on a steel magazine, much longer, almost twice as long on your plastic magazine, which probably helps stabilize this so it doesn't pop out. Now, problems with the plastic magazines often come in that people complain about double feeds, and that because they are more, or have less friction than the steel, that they sometimes do double feed. Now, this particular magazine is made by a company called Master Molder, or Wilson, North Carolina. These were very inexpensive 20-round magazines. I prefer 20s because they don't take up nearly as much space under your gun, and you don't have trouble hitting things with it. So a 20-round I prefer over the 30-round, which is right behind this. These particular magazines I think are about $4 or $5 a piece. We're using 55 grain ammo. I've never had them fail. And you can see from the side again how much higher the bullet is as it goes into feed. So when this plastic magazine bullet starts to feed, it starts to feed already onto the steel part of the feed ramp, while the conventional mil-spec magazine will almost always start lower into the aluminum part of the feed ramp. And that's really the solution, is to get a magazine that has the bullet start to feed higher up. So and the best way to take these is just put a round in your 55 millimeter round in the magazine, and to start to chamber it and slowly let that bullet go forward as you ease the bolt on, and to see where the bullet's going to hit on this feed ramp, whether it hits on the aluminum part or it starts hitting on the steel part first. And that'll determine whether your magazine is going to be fit for a 55 grain bullet. And that's pretty much it. From what I read and research, the plastic mags seem to work a lot better for the M4s when shooting a 55 grain bullet. Shooting any bullet weight above that doesn't seem to make any difference in the M4s that I have, and I've shot a lot of M4s. It's all about the bullet length and the magazine that you use and how that bullet comes out of the magazine, what angle. So, in summary, if you have a magazine that starts to feed lower into this black area, the phosphated aluminum, and you've been having trouble, it's probably the feed ramp issue, and get a different magazine, one that starts feeding the bullet more into that silver or the steel area. That's all I have. Good luck.